Hey Gemini, we are here to do your June 2024 intuitive tarot readings. I'm MJ. I'm an intuitive author. I run a brand called Alta Love. I've been reading tarot for over 5 years, and I have been teaching yoga for almost 15 years. I philosophize about spirituality and trauma. I'm very much like so many, really delving into the depth of trauma healing and or acknowledging the pain in the human heart. So, and this is, ultimately to create a better world for everybody too. So, let's get into it, Gemini. Divine guidance and loving clarity for you, my lovers. We're just coming into Gemini season as well. So we're definitely going to be feeling some shifts when the planets start moving into Gemini, the sun today or tomorrow. And Uranus is soon approaching Gemini. Jupiter is moving into Gemini in the next few days. So this is going to be a nice up level for you, Gemini. Okay, moving to calmer waters. What are the divine guidance messages for my Gemini lovers? Moving to calmer waters. There could be a little bit of disruption or yeah, the work life or monies or connections. There's either something you don't see coming or like a maybe a blind spot mentally, but you're moving toward this situation by the looks of it. You're moving to calmer waters. What's this work foundation situation? It's like taking an offer or taking a pentacle, but then what we think is going to happen is not what's going to happen. Gemini, this is like you could end up having a total transformation. Hence, maybe why we don't know when we're headed into situations what we're actually headed in for. You think it's work, or you think there's like some sort of establishing of a foundation, or maybe a business alliance, or Three of Pentacles is like having meetings with people, putting like ideas into practice, like doing something really substantial. I mean, within the movement toward this more than likely work effort, it looks like there's an offer. There's different types of offers that are going to come through the situation. And yet it doesn't necessarily look like something that you're going to be particularly enticed by, because all of the aces are reversed. And then you might on the other side end up kind of taking a bit of time to yourself to find your light. What's the death card here? I mean, this could be like getting messages. This could be maybe even having a state of mind that feels a bit fast or distracted. So the death energy, I am dominantly thinking this is a transformational card. Hence, like, oh, we're going in this direction. We think it's one thing, and then a few things happen that are like, whoa, that caught me off guard, or I didn't see that coming, or that's completely changed how I think about things. And this is maybe going to test your strength, maybe going to test your sense of faith or knowing of self. Or just realized too, the Knight of Swords is moving in the direction. So you could end up having a pretty significant experience where you're going to, and then end up being like, I'm out of here. I'm going in the other direction. Because there's some sort of ego death, or like, that's not who I am anymore, or I'm hearing I want to keep my options open. There's something about maybe feeling left out. There could be some sort of abandonment or rejection wounding going on that is, I'm hearing about like repeatedly bringing down the tower. This could have to do with a child, or it could be to do with like receiving a message that again triggers some sense of like, oh shit, am I um doing this? Because it's like keeping options open, feeling left out, and then towers come down, and then keeping options, feeling left out, or you know what I mean, a whole host of left out, feeling rejected, wounded, lost, excluded. Oh, I'll keep my, I mean, the shadowy figure in the Seven of Cups to me feels slightly empty around like just looking at all these different lovely things, but not necessarily knowing which one to choose. And they're in the shadow. So it's like they're non-existent and all of these options are the only thing that's available to them. And it's like they're not available. So I think the Hermit is pulling you in to shine your light, to know your existence, to know your path, to know the direction that you are wanting to be going. Because, you know, I get a sense of this pattern being almost like a haunting. Like the tower moment are structures coming down, thinking that we're building something coming down, thinking that we're building something and it's coming down, and is wired into this sort of keeping my options open. And the wounding card, that Five of Cups, because this is upright. This is stuff that's still very much sort of embedded in the psyche, I would say. Some of you might be connected to the mother line or the mother lineage, a false perception of self or a false perception of femininity. Of course, you could shapeshift the genders, especially in general readings, as in this could be a King of Cups and you could be working on the paternal lineage stuff or inherited false belief systems from the father. And you are moving forward. Now, this is part of this exquisite thing we call life, I would say, and the part of the humility and compassion that we have to continue to find within self is patterns are tricky and we're all in them. We all have them, and there's patterns within patterns within patterns. And um it's like addiction in that regard. Having compassion with our addictions is that we are acting it out in service to a soul until we're not. And each time we play a pattern, we get a different insight and a different insight, and that is our evolution. Um, I think it's only through the media's representation, which is again an artificial one, that we somehow have a dissociative connect to the body and of course the nature of time with regards to these big changes, but actually these death processes or these tower moments, these things can be actually be going on really regularly in some fashion, especially I think when we're on a conscious path, which just means we're endeavoring to be more responsible for our thoughts and our feelings and to understand ourselves rather than just playing a part or rather than being over identified to societal statuses and structures. I'm hearing that song, You Can Go Your Own Way, Go Your Own Way. I don't know the other lyrics, but it's a good tune. Fleetwood Mac, I think. This is like an inner battle as well with regards to this movement forward. Part of what you're moving toward is possibly facing some of your like inner battles about putting a foundation down, maybe taking opportunities or making commitments about your desires, because the Seven of Cups in this regard feels a little bit distracted. It feels like we just have all these options and it's like, oh, they're all lovely, but it's like, oh, we're just looking at these options, we're not looking at ourselves in regard to what these options represent, or the pattern that they're pulling us into, and or what they're actually showing us about ourselves and how we build structures. And the battle, the Five of Wands card moving toward that will be like facing some of, and this is just, I think, life ongoing, and part of what makes life dynamic and worth living is that really going into the battle. Okay, I can't keep doing this pattern, so I'm going to do something different. Face the battle or face the inner conflict would be like When it's connected to also like the wounding side of things, the inner battle is like not knowing what we deserve, not knowing what we want, um, all seeming to be always in these maybe petty arguments or petty conflict with people's, um, and just like hence like these patterns, which we think are getting us somewhere, but they're all actually connected. The five and the five, the double five, five of wands, a five of pentacle, feeling left out, feeling unworthy, you could say, with the unworthy of whatever it is that we are desiring to move to calmer waters, to probably put some foundations down and feel integrated in the way in the process, and the ideas, the thought form, and of course the physical manifest reality of what we're choosing. The Hermit card is signaling like I need clarity first. I'm hearing don't rush me. So there's an element here of you, Gemini, being able to take your time. I think I do think Geminis for the most part have a quick thinking intellect. And there is that dualistic. So they're, intellectually they like to work things out. They like to perceive, and yet, we all have blind spots, and this is more like an potential like emotional wounding of I want to keep my options open, but it's actually connected to like I don't belong anywhere. So there's some, and then that's bringing towers down. So it's like we're trying to build something, but we're not building it because there's some uh neglect pattern or what have you that is coming in. It's coming in for addressing, right? Some of you might be moving. The Hierophant reverse, when I see the keys, I just think of a move, or maybe getting a new car, getting a new set of keys. I think some of you, so the Prince of Wands, especially when it's reverse, is a little bit of like player energy, playing the field, like non-committal. Especially if it's reverse, though, it would even go as far to lie and be really sneaky to get what it wants. It's not a very integral energy. This is like a in and out energy. No, not very grounded, doesn't feel remorse, even just kind of flits about. You're turning your back on that energy. So this could be an aspect of your own energetic outpouring, or aspects of self that we're exhibiting and or attracting, that non-committal energy, or just like, and or it could be that you're way too stressed. So if you're stressing out, if you're super dupes busy and just kind of juggling a whole bunch of things, it's like you can't commit to anything because you're just doing all this stuff all the time. And energies are, so final messages for Gemini. Let's get some final messages for June 2024 productivity. There's likely to be guidance there, or like what will be helpful. Being productive. I'm hearing making things, but I am getting a sense, of course, within the context of these readings, that this is a certain type of productivity that is en flow, that is meditative, more than likely. I am hearing getting your hands dirty, that these things will be good to calm the nervous system. And there could be a bit of bubbles bursting, like, and these things, yeah, they land. Things in our lives happen pretty miraculously that shift us, that change our perspective. So one worldview is starting to kind of, or not even starting, this could be quite kind of radical and sudden. This is like suddenly a bubble burst, and you're like, holy fuck, that's not at all what I want, or that's not who I want to be, or that's not what I want to do, or I want more, whatever it is that comes up is going to be a pretty like, whoa, I did not see that. Now I see it. And now I can be productive moving forward. Because often is the case when we're in some tight patterns or loops, especially especially emotionally, when it comes to also creating the life we want, or desire or deserve, whatever. often it's these certain blind spots that loop, 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 and then finally, bosh, it's like, oh, there it is. I can finally see that wounding. I can see why I did that thing. And I do believe that understanding can often liberate us. And so often it requires an amount of reflectivity, emotional depth and awareness, support, even, right? To allow ourselves that freedom to let go of the old version of ourselves, let go of the. I would almost look at that psychological thing too as like classic the ways that we self-sabotage, the ways that we like, oh, rather more like those protective mechanisms. So we'll have certain protective mechanisms like I just want to be free, or um and or again, we learn these. It's not we're no never it's not like we're all trying to figure it out, I believe, right? It's like um adopting certain narratives that at different times of our life might go, oh my god, I don't actually even align with that narrative. I don't want to tell that story. I don't want to be um it's like, so I'm thinking of this idea of, which I've felt as well, of like I want to be this like super free spirit, and yet these some of these woundings are going to continue to come up because there's a grounding that wants to take place. There's a certain root that wants to take place in the earth to be healed, to then grow. And I'm really getting that sense of our greater liberation and freedom is on the other side of that rooting process. And the rooting process is healing the core wounds that separate us from the desired, heartfelt, soul-felt manifestation of the life we're here to birth, to create. And I would say generationally, on various levels, we're all making these big leaps, these big jumps. We're going through death processes that are changing how we work, how we produce, right? Exciting reading, Gemini. Quite a lot as far as like there's intensity, and then I'm thinking, when is there not intensities? And I just will get final layer here. There's something about the sacred flame, tending the sacred flame. That again, I'm getting it more to do with hermit mode. As and when, if you have the time to take for yourself, tend to the flame, tend to the sacred flame of devotion, of the pearls of wisdom, of the desired outpouring of your life's essence, from even that darkness space, from unifying the dark and the light, Chew. I feel like I've never sneezed on the live share before. Okay, Gemini, there's your reading for the month of June. I hope that it's a good one for you guys. Let me know if any of that's resonating with you as you move through the month. Feel free to check out patrons that get ad-free first access and a few little extra tidbits and updates. And I look forward to seeing you all in the daily shares. And of course, I just saw the sneeze played back to me. In the daily shares, in the weekly or in the monthlies, and I totally got distracted. Check out the online stuff. I'm going to try to upload it onto the channel so y'all can see it below the screen. Have a great day, you guys, and have a wonderful month of June. Happy birthday to all my Geminis.